Escape from Tarkov, Arena. Escape from Tarkov, Arena is that game, built on the same engine as the regular Tarkov and using all the same systems. It could be classed as a new mode that is being sold as a separate title. But this is Tarkov as you have never seen it before. Without the large maps, the focus on looting and the fear of losing your best gear, Arena gives you the chance to shoot people to your heart's content, and it does it incredibly well. The best way to describe Escape from Tarkov, Arena is to imagine if Call of Duty's multiplayer was dropped into the Tarkov engine and world. Small to medium-sized maps featuring two teams fighting it out to eliminate the other or secure an objective. There are no abilities, no in-match economy and no storyline to worry about. It's a bare-bones shooter by today's standards that is just about shooting other people in the face. In the beta, there are two modes available, but both are essentially the same thing with different player numbers. Rounds start out with a minute and a half of combat, where your only objective is to eliminate the enemy team. If after that time each team still has some players standing, an objective opens up that a team must capture by standing on it. If after another 45 seconds each team still has players alive and the objective has not been captured, a squad of AI-controlled characters swarm the map to try and kill all the remaining players, effectively forcing the round to end. It's a slightly inelegant solution to the problem of players just camping until a round ends, but these multi-stage rounds are much more strategic than just a standard team deathmatch shooter. You'll need to work together to clear angles, and running with teammates is the most effective way to make sure you can trade kills and not give away a freebie to the enemy team. As rounds progress, it doesn't become a fight for where the objective will be, it becomes a fight for the best vantage point of the objective, as capturing will leave you exposed. There's more thought required when it comes to positioning than you find in a similar game. Teamfight is the mode I've gravitated towards the most, which is a 5v5 best of 7 competition that typically lasts around 15 minutes. Shootout is the 2v2 or 3v3 variation of this formula that, instead of being a match between two teams, is a round-robin tournament with the top two teams at the end playing a best-of-3 final. Maps are shrunk down and things are much slower, with players holding angles and waiting for someone to make a move. The larger team matches are quick enough that you are never stuck in a losing game for too long, but long enough to give you a feeling of achievement if you win a close match. The shootout tournaments, on the other hand, can feel long if you are matched against better players, especially as you have to sit out and watch other rounds when you aren't in a battle. When you are in somewhat evenly matched fights, you get the same rush that the normal Tarkov experience will give you, when you aren't killed by a single bullet from across the map, which is great fun if you are doing the killing and not so much fun if you are on the receiving end. Then fights feel tense and much more than who can just spray the most bullets at the target. Peeking and holding angles while you can hear someone moving on the other side gets the heart rate pumping, and you'll have to have quick reactions to hit them in the face before they do. If you can play with a team that has some comms and coordination, Tarkov Arena really comes into its own, with actual strategy and team positioning making a big difference. In a competitive match where the pace is fairly slow and each kill really matters, I'd go so far as to say this is the most fun experience I've had in a shooter in a long time. Combat feels great and it's very bare bones. If you hit your shots, you are likely to win, and there isn't much else to it, which is a refreshing change from almost every other shooter that throws in abilities or complex grenades. However, solo play with a team of random players has proven less fun. Running around as a solo trying to take on the world can work, and you will for sure see a lot of people trying to be Superman in matchmaking, but more times than not, you are going to come up against two players in close proximity and your chances of winning that fight are slim at best. So I worry about the longevity Arena has for solo players, especially with many players not using the voice comms. Fighting is, for the most part, great. But it is outside of the actual playing of the game where Arena in its current state starts to fall down. Escape from Tarkov has a massive arsenal of weapons with some of the deepest customization options in any game, but Arena has none of that. Instead, you are limited to presets, a loadout of gear predetermined by the dev team, that has no customization options. For balance reasons, you can see why this choice was made, because with complete freedom to build whatever loadout you wanted, players would quickly figure out the strongest weapons and they would be the only ones used. But having no customization in the Tarkov universe feels wrong. And surely a system where you have a set amount of money or another limiting factor to build a setup would feel like a more natural fit. Then there's the process of how you unlock these presets. You'll start out with basic ones for each specialist tree, with different ones for close quarter combat. Long-range snipers, fast-firing SMGs. You'll need to use a preset to earn XP with it, to then unlock the next preset in the tree. The higher up the tree they are, the stronger weapons you get. Each preset has an MP score dictating how strong it is, and after a lot of backlash at the start of the beta, matchmaking will now take into account the average MP score from your previous few matches and match you with people of similar kits. In theory, this means you shouldn't come up against people with outright better weapons than you, and when that was the case it was borderline unplayable for anyone who wasn't grinding all day. But it still presents some problems, most notably that because of the time it takes to unlock the next preset, which can be a lot, you will likely start grinding up one unlock tree. But then if you want to switch to a new one, you are going to have to play some games where people have flat out better guns because your MP score from previous matches will be high while you are now at the start of a new tree. The simple solution is to have people select their preset before matchmaking, so you never get a situation where there are players who are almost unkillable because they have the strongest armor in the game and you are effectively throwing paperclips at them with an underpowered weapon. You'd hope that these issues will eventually be ironed out before a full launch. But right now the systems that should be there to keep you playing and offer progression are actually the most off-putting unless you love to grind for hours to unlock one new weapon. But if you can get past that, Escape from Tarkov, Arena has the potential to be a top shooter that can offer hours of entertainment. The actual fights combined with the interesting rounds make this a fun shooter with a high skill ceiling to reach. It offers tense Tarkov-style combat in a format where it is guaranteed to happen and you don't have to worry about losing your good loot. Even if you have never played Escape from Tarkov before, but are a fan of shooters that keep it simple, then this is worth a shot, and if Arena follows the same path as the original it will only get better.